setting my final 53-man roster today on Night of the Shield. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Night of the Shield. I am Jason Smith, a.k.a. The Knight, and today I'm going to set, for the final time, my 53-man roster. Thank you for everybody who tuned in live with me yesterday. That was an adventure in itself. I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to leave it up as is. If you start the live show, you'll see the top of my head. There's a reason for that, and, well, welcome to my visually impaired life. But with that said, let's go ahead and get right in to this video. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be updated every time I drop another episode, and smack that like button. Let's continue to move up the algorithm. All right, I'm going to jump right into this. This is my third time through, depending on how you look at it. Your perspective changes as you gather more information and you continue to look. I started off by doing the quarterbacks and running backs. We're going to go over that one last time really fast. There is some changes to the running back situation. Also, I started to do the offensive line in the live, and I did cover it, and I went back. I kind of jump around because I'm checking on the chat and everything, but today we're just going to run right through this thing and just set it and forget it. And this is what I'm going to run with, and we'll see what happens. I expect to be totally wrong. I expect to be way off on this. This is just my opinion and what I saw from the outside looking in. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and run through the quarterbacks really quick because I know it's self-explanatory. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, and you got Brian Hoyer now. I have two quick perspectives on that. I've said it 100 times, but I'm going to state it one last time here. I believe that Hoyer will be the second quarterback early. Maybe the first two games, depending. The one thing that will make Aiden O'Connell enter this scenario earlier, in my opinion, is going to be a long-term injury to Jimmy Garoppolo, or Jimmy just cannot or is not getting the job done. It makes sense to add the young kid in, see what he got, battle test him, let him grow. You'll really get a good grasp of what he's about if that happens, and then you know exactly where you're headed next year. So those are my thoughts. Now, I am all for giving Aiden an opportunity, but I think the more opportunity he has to learn and grow, especially on the sideline, halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments, learning from Hoyer. Yes, he could do that as the number two. And like I said, I think it's all situation-based. I think it's a week-by-week basis, but he has earned the right to be the number two, in my opinion. I just want him to have every opportunity to be great because we need it. All right, running backs really quick. Normally, last time I said I wanted 5 running backs, one of them being Jacob Johnson, our fullback, so you could just go ahead and slide that over. And then I was going to run 4 halfbacks, running backs, whatever you want to call them, right? I'm on the fence. I'm back and forth, so I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. I think you can see 4, and, right off the cut, I think those 4 would be Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, and Brandon Bolden. Brandon Bolden is a Josh McDaniels dude. He's here for a reason. He serves a purpose. If they have a conversation and Brandon's like, hey, you guys got this, go ahead and run with this, I'm done type scenario, maybe he retires and he rides off in the sunset. I don't think he would have went through training camp if that was the case. So I got Brandon Bolden as a lock. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is a lock. Amir Abdullah is a lock. He brings a lot to the table. He does special teams. He does some kick return, punt return. He has that capability. Plus, he's our backup gadget back, catch the ball in the backfield. He makes some really big plays, and I think he's crucial to this running game, which leaves that other spot. I think we could just run with those guys, to be honest with you. We could gamble and just go with those 3, backing up our fullback. But I do think that we're going to run that fourth halfback, and I think it's going to be Zamir White, because I think you could just put Sincere McCormick on the practice squad and bring him up as needed. Now, I would like to see them just run the 4 and I'll tell you why. We need an extra offensive lineman, and we're going to go there next. So I have the offensive lineman down as 8. If we only run those running backs, let Zamir walk, Some Sincere McCormick on the practice squad could be someone we bring up in emergency situations. I think he was more well-rounded as far as being able to catch the ball in the backfield. That's what I would do, so we could have that 9th offensive lineman. But anyway, so here's my scenarios for the offensive line. Pretty self-explanatory. Colton Miller, left tackle. Dylan Parham, left guard. Andre James, center. I got Van Rotten in right guard, and I got Jermaine Illuminor at the right tackle. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking Munford earned a spot, maybe should be the starter. At this point, it's just a name on paper. I don't care who starts. I think it's going to be Illuminor. I think he's just more experienced. He's proven in this offense. His biggest problem is his penalties, his pre-snap penalties, to be exact. So hopefully he gets that under control. But I think it's Illuminor's job still. And I think Munford makes this squad just to back him up. I mean, Illuminor is the backup left tackle at this point, in my opinion. So you're going to want Munford there to back up Illuminor if he has to switch over. So right there, that's 6. Then you have to take a look at that right guard spot. It could be a revolving door there. So for me, I would definitely take a look at Wagner. I think he's proven himself. I think he could be swooped up. I don't know if we get him on the practice squad. I was a little bit more concerned, too, about Curtis McClendon, but I think he's the one that could squeak by. So I think I'll hold Wagner to that. I'll keep him in the back end and there, too. And that gives you 7. And then you have to take a look at the backup center position because I think that is key as well. So I think Grossu actually makes this team. I had him off the team in my original offensive line breakdown, but that would be my 8. That would literally be my 8 right there. If we only go those 3 running backs, though, then we could add a 9th. And then I would make that Alex Barr. Now, Alex Barr in a lot of people's boards, I know, will be taking the place of Wagner, but I don't think you could take that. I think with Munford being able to slide Illuminor over if we have to in the right guard spot, Swiss Army knife that Illuminor is, he can move him around the offensive line. That's what I personally would go with. I would go with Wagner. And, you can keep Alex Barr, too, and really kind of let this play itself out. But then you would have to lessen something somewhere else. And the only spot that I saw that it would be worthwhile would be right there in that running back slot. That means you get rid of Zamir White and Sincere McCormick. If Zeus doesn't make it to your practice squad, Sincere McCormick would be your backup because I think McCormick makes it to the practice squad. Anyway, that's the front. Now, tight ends, pretty self-explanatory. Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer. I still had Fotheringham. I still do. I want to see Fotheringham in there. I know a lot of people know Jesper Horsted is a fan favorite as well, as he's been here before and they really liked him. I just saw something. I saw something a little different. I saw a little twitch in Fotheringham. So that'll probably be my first big mistake in my 53. But that's what I'm going with. I'm putting Fotheringham in there. I could be wrong, but give me Fotheringham. I'm not going to be upset if Jesper makes the team. It's a no harm, no foul in that situation for me. Wide receivers, real quick. We're just going to burn through this tonight. I've done this so much. I just want to burn through this as quick as possible. All right. So we have Devontae Adams. Obviously, we got Hunter Renfrow. Obviously, and we also have Jacoby Myers. Obviously, you're definitely going to keep Tucker. Tucker has proven to be the up and comer. I think he's going to be a Swiss Army knife himself. He'll play the slot. He'll be the outside with his speed, and you could use him in special teams and kick and punt returns as well. I can't wait to see how they utilize him on end rounds. He's going to be an exciting player this year to watch. And then obviously the same thing with DeAndre Carter. The same thing. Swiss Army knife gives you multiple looks in the slot. They both can go to the outside and use their speed, make plays, contribute on special teams. It just makes sense. Where it really gets interesting is that last spot. And Cam Sims is a guy that I was keeping an eye on because of his height. But I don't know if you can overlook Dorsett's speed, his experience. He showed that he could still run. He's kind of a proven product at this point. And, I think Cam Sims has an option to be on this practice squad. I don't think he showed enough for anybody to swoop him up right away. And that's where I'm leaning towards. I know Wilkerson showed some things, but I think we have too many people that has his skill set. So I don't think he makes the cut. So I believe it's going to be Dorsett. Dorsett is the 6th guy that I plugged in there. And there you go. That's our offense. That's the way our offense is looking. Let's go ahead and jump into the defensive side of the ball. Here it gets fun too, because, depending on how you're looking at it, how you want to line this up, it gets interesting because the type of defense we run, number one, it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid. It's always been a hybrid. Actually, the league has been playing more nickel and dime lately. A lot of teams do it because the tight ends are so fast, and the tight ends actually become a hybrid position, and now the defenses are starting to adjust. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our corners just to be a little different because I'm pretty solid and sure about the corner situation. So I'm going to go ahead, and obviously you got Jacorian Bennett, the rookie, Marcus Peters on the other side, who's going to be our lockdown stud, the mentor to everything that's happening in our secondary from the cornerback's perspective. And then obviously you got Nate Hobbs. There's your three. You're going to want three behind them. On my list, I stand true to what I'm saying. It's Sam Webb and it's Tyler Hall with the option of Faison. If Faison is okay and gets the green light and he's good to go, pick one. And I don't think it matters. I sit there and I went over this 100 times in my head. I can't pick between Tyler Hall and Sam Webb, and they're pretty much equal to me. And maybe someone else has a different opinion. That's fine. Either one of those could be swapped out for Faison, but I think that's where it goes. I think both those guys make the cut. Now, there's definitely going to be a third option, and I said Amik yesterday. I was pretty adamant that it was Amik, and I stand true to that. I don't think Shelley for me, and this is where I think I could be wrong. Because they did definitely go out and sign David Long, and they also got Duke Shelley for a reason. And Shelley does show that spark. I like Shelley. If they go Shelley over Amik, I'm not going to be upset. I just think you stick with what you know. And Amik's been here. He played in the system last year. To me, they're equals. I don't think Shelley outshined Amik by any means, and I just stick with what we know. And then maybe you make it a numbers game. I don't know, but I could be wrong there. I believe it's either going to be Amik or Shelley. I went with Amik just because of consistency. That's just the way that I roll. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go over here. So let's go ahead and jump into, I guess we'll go linebackers because this is where it gets interesting. I've gone over and over this in my head. So originally, I had Spillane, Diablo, Masterson. That's what's been penciled in for a very long time. And then after that, I had Amari Burney. And then it came down to Curtis Bolton. And it came down to Drake Thomas. Now, those were going to be the five that I was originally thinking. But it's changed for me a bit. And I think I'm only going to go with 4 instead of 5. And I believe that Luke Masterson helps in the middle of that defense with Spillane. And I think you got Diablo. And I think behind Diablo, I think that's where you could plug in a guy like Amari Burney. Maybe play a little bit right there. And then you got Drake Thomas as kind of like your wild card as well. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did have 5 because I do have Drake Thomas making this team. So I went with 5 backers. And then safety-wise, this is where it gets interesting because we're in diamond nickel so much. You're going to have Hobbs on the field quite a bit. And this is where I went. I mean, Teamer's just that guy. He's that special teams guy. He's always there. He's been around for a while. I see him making the squad because I haven't heard anything otherwise, positive or negative when it comes to Teamer. You already know you got Marcus Epps, and you already know you got Trey Merrick. So those are going to be your starters there. So you got the starters, you got Merrick. You're definitely going Chris Smith. I mean, I believe I've seen the potential there. They drafted him. They want to get more out of him. He'll be a lot of special teams work for him there. So I'd like to see him get some work. And then I here's where I would cut it off, right? I would normally say 4. But, I think if Polamalu has a shot on this team, he's going to be playing at the line of scrimmage. I think that's where he would thrive the most. I still say that he made some plays in the backfield. I don't know if it's speed. I know there was a couple of times I saw him out of position, but he showed some good discipline too. But Polamalu is the wild card, and then you're probably going to have to substitute a linebacker for Polamalu at that point and kind of adjust that to make it fit as it goes. But solid 4 off the top would be Teamer, Smith, as your backups, and then you got Merrick and you got Epps as your starters. Polamalu's the wild card. Let's go ahead and jump on the defensive end. This is where it gets tricky too, man. Defensive end, towards the back end, it gets, okay, let's just knock it out. Max Crosby, Chandler Jones. I went with Kuntz. You know Tyree Wilson's going to be there. There's 4. And then I really like Rochelle. I like Rochelle a lot. And I know that I've seen him line up at defensive tackle at times, so that intrigues me that they might go that route. But I think it's going to be Jordan Willis. I think his resume is better than Rochelle. I think he stepped up and played on the Niners and made a lot of plays in place of Bosa towards the end. And I just think that he's going to be, when the lights come on and it's game time and he's got to line up and do his thing, I think he's going to be the more solid pick. So I went with Willis. I went with Jordan Willis on that. So that's what I did there. Defensive tackle. Whew. I'm getting out of breath. I really am running through this. Defensive tackle wise, it's so tough. Nichols, Tillery, Jenkins are the 3 main guys. After that, I got Young. By default, he's going to be there. I don't think Adam Plant makes his team. Nessa is the wild card for me. I just don't think his game translated. I know he brings great push, and maybe there's a lot that I don't see, and that's fair enough to say. It's fair enough to say that I don't see what's going on at the defensive tackle position all the time. I think no, I don't know, man. That's the one. This is where I think you could rotate some ends and do some different things. I've gone over this in my head so many times. I mean, I know you're going to see Tillery. I know you're going to see Jenkins. You're going to have Nichols in the mix. I think I'm going to run. I don't know if I want to go Nessa. I don't think if I want to go Nessa. I'm struggling on that one, guys. Let me know in the comments below. That's the one I'm stumped on. I'm really stumped on. I mean, I don't have to be right. I don't have to be right. There's a part of me that really wants to go in hard and say it's going to be Nessa. But I think you could plug Nessa in there, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and run Nessa. I'm probably going to be way off on that one. I'm kind of reading too much into it. But this is going to be a quick video. I wanted to set my 53. There's going to be things that flip-flop. Again, there's running back situation that could be handled differently, in my opinion, to add extra offensive linemen, even if it's short-term for now. I believe the same could be said for our defensive tackle position and the safety position and linebackers. There's a different mix, different looks that we could put together to help that situation out. We'll have to wait and see. I even thought, because Tyree could play some defensive tackle too, and you saw what he did last week against the Cowboys, being able to pick that 300-pound offensive lineman and push him back. Tyree could play some inside too, and his power game is strong, so he can get some good push there. So look for that to be a possibility, especially on 3rd and longs. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to run him a little inside sometimes, depending on Chandler Jones' situation. But again, some sort of combination of everything I said tonight, long-winded, should become somewhat of reality. There's definitely some wild cards there. I know the Amik and Shelley is one who's playing the back end of the defensive tackle. That's another area. I'm pretty confident in most other areas. The offensive line, either way, that can go either way on the back end when it comes to Alex Bars or Wagner. But I think, Polamalu is a wild card. I think if he steps in, he kind of takes a linebacker spot. So either way, you could kind of mix him in like that tweener that's in between safety and linebacker. And this regime has been known for people with that can play multiple positions and be more versatile than not. So I try to look at that too. That's why Illuminor is so valuable to this team, because he's the Swiss Army knife on this football team. He could play right tackle, he could play right guard, he could play left tackle. Illuminor is too valuable to keep him and not start him. So that's why I got him penciled in at right tackle. But anyway, use the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. I know this is kind of a fast moving pace. I'm trying to get things to slow down. I got a lot of things going. I'm training right now for Florida. I got a big event coming up in the middle of November. And then once I get done with that excursion, then, you know, things should slow down. As from the training perspective, I'll definitely be training still, but not, you know, there's not money on the table where someone's paying my way and giving me a free ride to go and do this. And I really want to inspire and motivate other people in the blind community, or anybody that's dealing with any type of loss, any type of tragedy, to really kind of get up, fight back, and, you know, start living your life. So I'm definitely got a lot of focus in that right now. I'm designing some new stuff for this channel. I got a lot of work to do on the back end. I got some things that I want to do moving forward. I did a little experiment last night with live. I'm pretty impressed. I don't know what happens if I get more people watching. That might be a little bit more difficult, but I'm going to power through. I have a couple more ideas. If you want to know more about what I'm doing with that live, go ahead and watch that live. I talk a little bit about the producer, who it might be, if I'm capable of even doing it. I talked about the phone system that I've had since 2016. That might be implemented later or towards, you know, I don't have any timelines for this stuff, but I got a lot of plans. There's a lot of change. I've been pretty much rededicated to this channel, Monday through Friday videos. There wasn't one today because I went live on Sunday night, and I talked about it in the live, but I will be back tomorrow, and we'll be talking about what happens. What happened? What is the real 53? So we'll go over that tomorrow. So look for that video. And until next time, stay Raider strong.